Mic. Camera. Action.
You're responsible for this place.
Who are you?
Name's Van Zandt, Kentucky Irregulars.
You're a long way from home, Van Zandt. You lost?
Rebuilt the National Guard C-5A. Flew it 8,000 miles on 2 engines and tried to set it down on the old strip outside of Manchester. Lost 122 men and most of my fuel. We need shelter. A place to refit artillery. We'll be out of your hair by 1800 hours tomorrow.
That's a good story. Especially the bit about the plane, but there hasn't been anything in the air for 20 years. That's their territory.
That's my territory. That's your territory. They're just renting it.
Turn around, Van Zandt.
Don't be a fool. We can do this easy, or we can do it real easy.
All right. Welcome back to the Filmography, the show dedicated to watching every credited film from an actor's complete back catalogue from past debut through to present day in chronological order. Each episode, I'm joined by an esteemed guest to watch and discuss the next entry from their focused filmography and consider how it ranks amidst their career and whether we can trace any typecasting trends or topic traits or theatrical tics. Today's returning guest is Tony Farina. Today's film is Rob Bowman's Reign of Fire from 2002. We watch, you listen, and hopefully watch along too. Good evening, sir. There be dragons.
There be dragons. Oh, I am so excited about this.
This was the one I think you were like, I need this one. I'm doing Reign of Fire.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the only one, I mean, it's, obviously I want to do more than one, but if there could only be one, it was this one. I'm obviously we'll talk about it. Rewatching it this time, I was like, oh, that's a choice. I remember thinking about all the crappy dragon movies of my youth and all the crappy dragon movies since Reign of Fire. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, I did not watch Game of Thrones. I have not watched House of Dragon. That is not my jam. So those dragons may be awesome, but there's like so many times I just, other than like Pete's Dragon from when I was a little kid, the cartoon, I've always been fascinated by dragons, but always been disappointed by dragon movies.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then this happened, and I knew, I thought this was a theater movie for me, and I didn't know who Gerard Butler was. I think this may be my first Gerard Butler. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, he and Christian Bale both get to use their normal speaking voices, which is so startling is to watch back. Like we've talked about McConaughey, and McConaughey's accent is a theme of this show because he just rolls up.
Yeah. And
this time he's from Kentucky. Sure. Sure you are. But it's weird for Christian Bale and Gerard Butler to get to do their normal talky voices. You're like, oh, right, I forgot this is what you sound like because they never get to do it. But I didn't know who Gerard Butler was, but I was a Christian Bale fan. I've known Christian Bale, who he was for some time leading up to this. He was in Newsies, I've followed his career. He was in Swing Kids. There was a bunch of things he was in. So I was already on the Christian Bale train. Mm-hmm. I'm not anti-Bale. So I was like, oh, Christian Bale's in this dragon movie. I'm going to watch it. McConaughey. Amazing. Really top billing, though. I feel like we'll have to have that conversation.
It's on my list of discussion points. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I remember walking away from this going, hot damn, that was great. And then, of course, my cousin Noom, who my earliest memory, we saw Star Wars together. So, of course, the Star Wars moment in this is glorious. And that, there's just enough of that. There's just enough nerd stuff in here that ticks all my boxes. So that was my initial experience with Reign of Fire, and I just have loved it ever since. And I feel like it's earnest, which is what maybe most dragon movies are missing.
Yeah, I can't decide whether I liked it more than I thought I was going to do like on a rewatch, because I remember like having fond memories of it, but feeling kind of fond memories, but it's not actually that good. But I like it, but it's not that good. Kind of thoughts. And then watching it, I was like, parts of this are really good, and like the kind of medieval military fusion is really cool, and there's some really great choices made. And then parts of it just, I can't, you may be caught up in the moment as you're watching it, and then after you sit back and you think about it, and you're like, well, what was the point of that scene, and where was that going?
Yes,
I feel like having watched it again now, and kind of in that arc of his career, now doing this show and talking about all these films and thinking about the order of things has become obviously my big passion in life. It appears being a completist and where do things fit in an order. This feels like the middle season of a longer arc. Like if you had season 1, the dragons are uncovered and they start taking over. Season 2 is the dragons are winning.
So season 1 is a young Quint. Christian Bale's not in it.
Yeah,
it's a young
absolutely.
Quint. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you maybe do a time jump, and season 2 is, according to this movie, suddenly there's 1 million dragons. And humanity's done, right? So we jump forward 10 years maybe, and then we maybe each season, a bit like we've just had with Andor, right? Andor season 2, where we have these time jumps. Perhaps you'd be doing that in this show. But this feels like this is perhaps season 3, and we've missed all that good stuff that's come before, that world building. They do establish the world here okay, but it just feels like there's a lot more you could do with it. And it kind of feels like it rushes. That third act for me is such a rush.
Oh, yeah. You forget
it's like only season
10 minutes long. The whole third act is only like something got cut. It feels like.
For sure.
It's like 10, 15 minutes, which is.
And we established this, like, what they call the Kentucky invaders.
Regulars.
Regulars, thank you. Yeah. Irregulars, the Kentucky irregulars. Yeah. And we established them, and they seem like a badass crew. And then they all get taken out in like 30 seconds. We're jumping all over the place here. But yeah, so it feels like you're right. It's really rushed. And then, so yeah, it feels like there's so much story here that you could tell, I think. And I definitely, if somebody brought back Reign of Fire as a prestige TV show, I am all in. I am watching that. And
I am too.
Seeing how they can build that world, because I think this is a world which would be really interesting and long form storytelling. And that it feels like they wanted to do more with this story, but they were forced to shoehorn in things which meant they never got the charts, unfortunately.
The love story, you mean?
The love story, yeah. And the fact that we have to get to a resolution by the end, which is we've killed the only male dragon. I mean, that guy, the amount of fertilization he does, fair play to him,
Yeah, one male. I know.
He's a virulent man,
Yeah.
Good for him.
But he doesn't seem like there's a lot of banging. He just like flies over and he just sprinkles his
just sprays the eggs.
Dude dust. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. Wow. That's like even the line in the hip hop-opotamus, right? My mind's so potent, but then this all pregnant. I made this small segment and all the women in the front row is pregnant. That's what it was. He's that. He's the hip hop-opotamus.
He certainly is.
Yeah.
All these ideas, that's quite interesting. And they flipped it, didn't they? Initially, it was going to be all male dragons and one female. And they're like, actually, let's think about this logically. That doesn't quite work.
That doesn't work. Yeah. I didn't know that. That was the original plan.
Yeah, the original script
was supposed to be like Alien.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. But yeah, that doesn't work. It works in Alien because it works in Alien because that's perfect. So but like I don't want to hear your flaws.
Or a slow reveal of that across a few seasons would be fascinating. And then you get to season 4, season 5, and they're like, we actually really have a chance here. Like we found where he is, and it's the big build up. It's I know you haven't watched Game of Thrones, but it's the Jon Snow stood in front of you. I'm sure you've seen the image.
Sure.
Stood in front of the attacking army. Yeah. It's that one guy with the overwhelming odds, that story that we always love to see, which they try to do here. But as you said, in 10 minutes, it's just not enough. Yeah. And with your, fair play to Christian Bale, but with your most interesting character, let's be honest, the McConaughey Van Zandt character is the most interesting one.
Yeah.
And
because he shouldn't be. Quinn should be, like, in your version, Quinn would be the more interesting character because he's our POV. We're with him the whole time. He's our hero. He's the lead. And I understand that McConaughey's McConaughey and Christian Bale. This was the year I just looked. He did Equilibrium in this, right? And then he did The Machinist, which I fucking love. I think that's one of his finest performances. I mean, and then somehow he did Batman right after. I don't know how he physically went from these two movies, this and Equilibrium, down to The Machinist, then up to Batman. No wonder he looks awful now. McConaughey did the same thing to himself at some
permanent
point.
Damage, I think.
Yeah, you can't.
What he did to himself. Yeah.
Yes, they both did. Yeah, I mean, when he dies of the heart attack. Spoiler alert for Ford versus Ferrari. You're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, like sure. But anyway, you that should be the most interesting character, but because you said they don't give him enough, it's just like the magazine flip, like the beginning of Ed Norton's Hulk.
Yeah, or like it felt very Seven-ish. It's the second movie in a row. They've got like Frailty and this both have like that start in Seven's really good, isn't it? Let's do that.
Yeah. That's such a good point. I wonder, I mean, Bowman does mostly TV, right? This is not, and so that too, that's really fascinating too. That they did choose a TV guy to do this movie, whereas maybe they should have just let him do this as a show. But back then, they weren't doing shows like this. There was no I mean, maybe like USA or there was like some basic cable that might have had a place for this.
You wouldn't have had the budget for this TV in 2002, would you? I mean,
that's true.
That's come along 10, 15 years later. I think the sort of budgets you need to make this as a show. I mean, the effects and the CGI in this do just about hold up for the majority of it. There's a few rogue ones, but you expect that with a film that's 23 years old. Right. But you couldn't have afforded to do this on TV, could you? It would have been, I don't know how they would have done the dragons back in those days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably.
Stock puppets.
Yeah.
Well, but I also think in a very Jawsy way.
Yeah.
You could have done, I mean, because I think what's great, like you see the dragons at the beginning, there's just fire. I appreciate the use of real fire.
The fire
not to John Carpenter. I mean, we've discussed the reason that the Thing looks so good is because he lit a guy on fire.
Yeah.
And nobody does that anymore. And you're like, why is that movie so good? Because he lit a person on fire. That's why it looks so good, because it's real. And they used real fire, which is where a lot of the budget went to.
Liquid first, isn't it? And then
it was so cool.
It's really
cool.
Yeah.
I do think the opening act. I mean, sure, the opening scene. There's some health and safety issues that you're letting a 12-year-old boy just wander around into a mine. Sure. Yeah. Oh, his mom's down there. Well, he should still at least get a helmet on, or I don't know. But I think you could have gotten away with the threat of dragons and using the sounds. Yeah. You know, but budget wise, you could have saved some money there. Have fire, have shadows. You know, you don't have to see them, and let the score do the work. I think the score is this isn't the greatest score ever, but I think it does some heavy lifting.
Yeah, I can't remember it at all. It's not memorable for me in any way.
Well, actually. Okay. So that's fair. Then never mind. Yeah. But you could, in a Jaws way. I agree. Right? Yeah. I'm not trying to fix this movie, because I would say, going back to it, I still enjoyed it.
Oh, for me, sure. Yeah, we don't do ratings, but this is like a 3.5. This is a 7 out of 10. This has got a lot of good stuff going for it. It just feels like it could have been, like you said, it's a good dragon movie amongst a genre of bad dragon movies, which I think helps to elevate it anyway.
That's exactly it, right? So is it good, or is it just better? It's like we're both teachers. Like yeah, and you don't mean to do it. You don't mean to compare students, but like when you're like, well, Donna totally understood the assignment and you didn't, Steve. So you had the same directions.
Oh, Steve.
Fucking Steve. So like you have the same directions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like it's got to be you. It's not me, the instructor. And like it's one thing when you like give 20 students the assignment and 17 of them don't get it. You're like, "Oh, that's on me. I did something wrong." But when 17 of them get it right, but you still you ponder about the 3. Like what are they missing? And so that's what I'm wondering, if it's there's just so many swings and misses that this movie, which is just good enough, and is it on the back of McConaughey and Bale and Butler and Isabella, what's her last name? I can't ever pronounce it.
Garupo, I think. Yeah.
Golden Eye lady.
Yeah.
Is it on the back of their 4 performances that you're like, oh, okay, that's why it's good, because they are earnest. Again, I come back to the word. That's the word I kept when I was rewatching. I was like, this is so earnest.
Yeah.
They are in, and maybe that's it. Whereas like the Dennis Quaid, Sean Connery, Dragonheart, you made the right sound. And then there was like the Dragon Wars. Do you remember that one? That was like, that one was almost like Corman level bad.
Yeah, that's like a DTV. I've not seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. That's awful. And then nobody's earnest in that. But it's like you almost have to go, at some point in time, you either have to go full Sharknado.
Yeah.
Which I would be fine with, or try this. And so so that's what I'm wondering, is my question back. Is it good or is it just better?
I think you're right. It's really interesting because like talking about that last section where we kind of go to post-apocalypse London, the whole place is like ruins. Again, like the sets and locations in this are brilliant. Like it's mostly filmed in Ireland, and they had to build this whole like castle facade and like all those caves, all that stuff's really cool. And the ending, wherever it is they filmed it, which is this like rubbled, I was like, oh, this is going to be like Children of Men. And like that sequence in Children of Men is amazing. It's so intense, and and that's what this could have been, should have been. It had all that kind of potential. So I think it is better, but it's not good. And we don't need to fix it. I think it's fine as it is. But there are these little moments where you're like, make that sequence 35 minutes and make us really feel like these people are in jeopardy. It's 3 lonely people up against this dragon, which took out the whole team. And I never felt any jeopardy really for them. We just know they're going to win. And I know we know they're going to win, but they're going to win. It doesn't feel like, whereas Children of Men, I don't know why that was so strong in my mind, but it was because of the location. You don't know that they're going to win. And in fact, you could argue they don't.
They don't, right.
They don't win.
They don't, right.
Well, certainly not both of them. Anyway, for Children of Men as well.
Also, don't bother reading. That is one of the worst books ever. That is maybe the greatest adaptation of all time.
Yeah, amazing movie, deeply average book. Yeah.
Oh, so bad. It's like even the Nothing Lasts Forever, the Thorpe's Die Hard, the original, is better. I mean, Die Hard is obviously way better than the book. But even I would rather reread the Thorpe book 20 times than ever have to read Children of Men again.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
That's
isn't it?
So bad. Anyway, this was not a book. But maybe that's what it needs, is a comic book adaptation to solve all of our problems, because then there's no budget problems.
Yeah. Because even the opening, there are some good stuff. Like you said, the kind of moment in the cave when the dragon pounces out is good, is intense.
Yeah.
But all the stuff before is so cringy in terms of accents and like the casual miner's misogyny of like, oh, this woman who's in charge.
Yeah.
I get it. It's meant to be reflective of what they'd be like in the time, but it doesn't. A lot of it just doesn't amount to anything.
2002.
Which looks like 1980s London.
Right,
well,
I know. That's what they needed to do. If you're going to do it. Yeah.
And, even like the dragon spits in Quinn's eyes.
Yeah.
And it's like it's 2 things, isn't it? It's like it's got 2 jets. It's like the propane and then I don't know. But it's like the liquid fuel.
And then the igniter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he gets like the liquid stuff in his eyes, doesn't it? And there's a big deal made of that. And I was like, oh yeah, is he going to have daredevil powers come the end of the movie? Nothing.
I know, that was really, there needed to be a payoff for that.
Yeah. So there's too much of that in the film as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, until the rewatch, I had forgotten that happened. And they spend a lot of time focusing on it. And you're like, huh. Because other than that's the reason his mom dies, is because she has to do the spray on his eyes, and that slowed them down to get out. Okay. Yeah, do something, have a scar, but they're like, listen, this is like that one, I bring it up all the time, the Western movie with Zazie Beetz and Idris Elba and Regina King. Like everybody
in the Cowboys.
Yeah, everybody's way too good looking in that movie. I'm sorry. No,
talking of Isabella Scoruppo,
right. And so this movie, you're like you're like, could there be like, this is the apocalypse and everybody's really good looking? Wow. Yeah. Only really great looking people survive the dragon apocalypse. Oh man, jacked all up. And okay, I just want to ask. Let's just get it out of the way. Straight guys talking to each other, but. they swung and missed on having them wrestle shirtless.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, because McConaughey had his shirt off for the fight scene. You see Bale all ripply chest. Yeah. And then McConaughey gets his off, and then right afterwards, Bale's all. I'm like, wait, that the two dudes wrestling around like that wasn't. They were like, well, if they both have their shirts on, that's a little too gay. It's all pretty gay. Let it happen. Like it was really a weird thing because it wasn't like Christian Bale didn't immediately take his shirt off in the next scene.
Yeah,
I just found that was such a almost like a homophobic overreaction, and I'm not saying it is, but that's what it felt like. Like somebody was like, "Listen, we can kill children in this movie,
yeah, happily,
but if we have two hot dudes with their shirts off wrestling, we're going to get an R rating, so we can't have that." That's what it felt like. It was so weird because they go out of their way to make sure McConaughey has his shirt off during the fight scene, and it was like noticeable. Like Christian Bale's like in a tunic.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, isn't it? I think, McConaughey needed to, I mean, from what I understand, he sat for 2 hours every day getting those tattoos put on. And it's only seen in this one scene. So probably like, I'm taking my top off in this scene. I'm doing it.
It's happening. Crease me up. I'm going in.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think you're right. If it was made now, they would lean into that for sure. They'd have fun with it. But 2002 we're not quite ready for that. I don't think. Either,
it was just really funny though.
But it was another missed moment.
So noticeable. Sure. Yeah, it was just really, really noticeable. And of course, the heroes fight. I'm surprised it took so long for the heroes to fight.
Yeah.
Do you think that came at the wrong spot? And that because that is the beginning of the third act, end of the second act, and. Is that where the wet fart happens? Because that whole fight scene was just literally sound and fury signifying nothing.
It really was, wasn't it? Yeah, because it's over. And I get nothing that's just over way too quick. But again, reading the trivia, supposedly they were like having an intense off, I think, essentially, McConaughey and Bale on this. And for McConaughey, I think wins it. For McConaughey to be more intense than Bale is quite something because he had been American Psycho already by this point.
Oh, that's right. He had.
And he's about to be
the
most intense Batman, probably, live action version. So, I think probably they were just too roided up maybe in this moment because that headbutt supposedly connected and was real.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That properly knocked Christian Bale down to the floor and he sort of carried on with and finished the scene. But he full on butted him. So I think they were probably just a bit too, macho man in the moment.
There was a little, what I noticed was the amount of grunting that McConaughey does in this. He does a ton of grunting, which I don't know that they were all necessary grunts, but there was definitely just a lot of, and I will say, okay, and again, this is maybe my favorite part of the movie, which again comes down to why they didn't just have them wrestling around with their shirts off. Right after they first come in, he straddles the gun.
Oh yeah.
As they come in, and it's like
the tank.
The tank. He's in the tank, right? But he's sitting like his turret at the top has the machine gun, and that is definitely right between his legs as he comes rolling into the. I'm like, wow.
He's making a statement for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do you think that was McConaughey playing about, or do you think that was in the script?
Oh, that definitely feels like a choice on the day, doesn't it? I don't think they've written. Yeah.
He rides. He has a gun dick. I just think it was really funny, but also like, oh right, that's this movie. This is
definitely
that's this movie because it's like nobody shaves because there's beards, but somehow he's naturally bald.
Yeah,
there's no stubble in the entire time. I'm like, wait, what's? This like of all the things in the post-apocalypse, your Vic Razor survived. That's fun.
Yeah, we needed like a Mac from Predator style. That needed to be a tick, didn't it? That he was doing. That would have been cool.
That'd have been cool.
Or he got a sharp bit of flint or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because she comes and asks for a flint.
Yeah.
Right, and so she'd have been like, "Yeah, he's got to shave his head."
Yeah, it's part of his look.
That would have. That would have been funny. I mean, but again, I don't want to feel like I'm shitting on it. I really did enjoy it. I had fun, but I noticed, you come into it, you think, well, we're going to talk about it for an hour. So I want to spend some time being critical of it. So this was you nodded earlier. This was your first Gerard Butler.
I think probably, I mean, I haven't delved back, but I mean, he wasn't really a name at this point, wasn't he? Sort of 300 made him.
300
really,
was his thing.
And that's a couple of years later. So,
And was he like, I want to get all roided up? Or did he see them with their shirts off? And he's
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
Get me some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah. I think he's fine. I mean, he does what he needs to do. He gets to be Scottish, which he doesn't normally get to do.
Yeah.
And
I think he's actually quite good at this kind of sidekicky, charming. There's more layers to him than it's just, well, Gerard Butler, which is what he's become. He's almost become a caricature of characters he's played now. So, yeah, I think he pulled it off. I think he has a softer side to him here, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
Which we've seen in that moment when they do the play and they're performing Empire Strikes Back. And then the way they talk to the kids afterwards, I think is really nice.
Right. And he's got a backstory. Like when they have to go running up, he's like in bed with someone, and like, so, he's got a partner.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so this is important before we, and I just want to ask, this is on my notes, and then we can talk about whether McConaughey is really the leader. I guess we sort of already discussed dragons.
Yeah.
Do you believe that dragons were/are real?
No, of course not.
Really?
No.
Come on.
I mean, yes, would it be nice? Of course. I mean, I really like the idea of this movie about how, because they go to great pains to make this feel like it could be possible. So I think that, a lot of research into the look and the kind of genealogy of the dragons and all that kind of stuff. But the sense of them surviving on ash sounds really stupid as I say it to you.
That is that part stupid. I agree.
That works in the movie, and I really like the idea that then they can then posit that it was dragons that killed the dinosaurs. I think that's really cool. That's really fun.
Yes.
Actually, they brought about that ice age by ashing everything up and then had to go and hibernate. So
yeah.
But yeah, fine. The idea is fun. But I know what you're saying. Like the idea that all the different cultures all around the world have some.
It's impossible to believe. This is right. And that is my favorite part of this movie, because that is truly legit. I believe. Now, whether I think there are still dragons, I don't. I probably not, because we are still alive. So if there were still dragons, we would not be. Yeah. But not in this way. Anyway. But exactly, that's my favorite part of this movie, and I think watching it again, I was like, that is what clicks for me. Is that the logistics of there's no internet, there's no phones, there's no nothing, there's no intercoastal communications. I understood there was Pangea. And so, but that would argue that all of those cave markings and all of those drawings of dragons all happened when there was still one continent. And then it did, but I just don't believe that's true. So I don't believe that this is dragons like this, but it would make sense that the last remaining dinosaurs would be the ones who flew.
Sure. Yeah. So dragons mean like pterodactyls or sure.
Right. And so that's how I feel, is that dragons, now mythology happens and whatever, they breathe fire. Okay. Yeah. I don't know about that. But I do love the way that they do the science on this one. I think I think that's cool. Like you said, there's the liquid and there's the igniter, and that's a really cool way to do it. But I firmly believe this was their like they survive on ash. That's dumb. No, they don't. They survive on cows and shit. What are you talking about? They don't eat ash. That's not a thing. But I do think this is the closest thing I've ever come to a dragon that I've seen where they acknowledge the reality of the situation that 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong, right? It's that. You can't have it be that the Mayans and the Chinese and the Scandinavians all saw dragons. They all have depictions of the exact same animal. So is it just a pterodactyl? Yes. I think that's what it is. I think that's what happened, and those would survive for a long time. And would it be a situation where they just outbred themselves? It was a population issue, right? They were too spread out. They could fly the globe. So anyway, so that's what I love about this movie is that I believe that dragons are real in that sense of not that they breathe fire, but that humans and pterodactyls lived at the same time.
Yeah, I think now we're getting sciencey rather than
we are getting
mythological.
Sciencey.
So I think the science of it makes perfect sense. Yeah, so by that rationale, sure, I can totally believe it.
Then I just wanted to ask the question because I knew you'd say no because I listened to you and Scott talk about Ghostbusters and you're like, dumb, we're not going to go no. So you are definitely the skeptic,
for sure,
of the family. And so
that being said, though, I'm the in that kind of X-Files way, I want to believe. But my mind is too rational. Until it can be rationalized for me. I still want to, but I don't.
Right. Exactly. Like you want Fringe to be real.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's fucking cool. You definitely want, yes, what I agree. I do too. And, and I, in all of the weird, possible things. I mean, honestly, a multidimensional theory also makes sense scientifically.
Yeah.
Right. There's like the worlds bumping up against each other. The multiverse makes plenty of sense. Because science.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, of course, that actually makes a lot more sense than, I saw an angel. Or were the two universes bumped against each other and you saw through the veil? Like that actually makes way more sense to me then. But whatever, I'm not here to. But I do think that because it's impossible for those stories to have traveled. Because there's definitely certain, there's definitely certain. Because if you are like, because of zoos, of course, I've seen a lemur.
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine the first time someone saw a lemur? You'd be like, what? Is that?
Sure. Yeah.
How is that a thing? Or like, I've read the story of, and it was actually depicted in the TV series Victoria. The first time the Queen Victoria saw a pineapple.
Right. Yeah.
And like this mythological pineapple, and of course it was rotten by the time it got to her from India. But like this whole thing, like they've heard about this magical thing, and it got shit. Think about the amount of. It must have been so nasty and rotten by the time it got to her, right? But just the fact that she got to see it, because until then, it might as well have been a dragon.
Yeah.
Right? Because so it's just like that's what I like about this, and I do think they try to science it up, and
they do.
And then so that's the follow-up question: does then, like you just said, I think you kind of answered it. It doesn't. It gets in its way. It's not Back to the Future where it's like flux capacitor, 1.21 gigawatts. Move along. We're not going to explain it. The reason that's one of the best scripts of all time and the greatest time travel story of all time is because it doesn't explain it.
Yeah.
It doesn't try. It's like 88 miles an hour, 1.21 gigawatts, flux capacitor, the garbage, Mr. Fusion. Move on. 5 simple things. It's when they get into too detail. So do they get in their own way then in this movie?
I think by wanting to do it in this movie, like if this had been a trilogy and by film 3, then fine. But it's too much, isn't it? Because we have, when we break it down into 3 acts, that first one is the first half an hour, getting to know what the world is like post-Dragon Apocalypse. Then that middle act is what is life like now that the Kentuckys have come to England, and what's their mission, because they're being skeptical to begin with about what they're up to. And then suddenly we're rushing and we've got the answer to save the whole world. And it's just too much, isn't it? In this length movie where you've got to do all this world building, for me, I feel like that needed to be saved. We just needed to have a big battle at the castle to end this one, really. And
that, I love that. And then then the end is then he gives the speech about you go celebrate.
Now we've killed this one. We've discovered that, know, when Christian Vasquez pulls the egg out, perhaps you still have that scene. And now, but we're right at the end of the movie. And it's like, we weren't going to get on, but now the Americans and the Britons, we're going to unite and we're going to take on this mission. And I guess that's because we live in this world now where things are serialized and we get franchises. And even really in 2002, it wasn't as big a deal now.
And not with the two of them. Nobody was thinking this is going to be a series.
No.
That's true. But did it not then? So the question is, it's 1:45. So does it need 15 more minutes, or does it need to cut somewhere else?
I think it needs 15 more minutes, but also it needs to tie it up. I think it's both, right? Don't you agree? Like, we don't need this sort of pseudo love story. It's a total waste of everyone's time. We just needed the conflict between Van Zandt and Quinn, really, or this idea of these two cultures coming together. I think that kind of commentary is really interesting, that we've got the Britons who have decided to kind of just cope and try and survive, and then we've got the Americans coming with the bluster and the skill to save the world. And I think
I think there is a lot to be said. Big dick between the big gun between their legs.
Absolutely.
And I think too, I also think we could have cut the adopted son story, but I know that was only there. Like, He saved all these people. We don't need
exactly
this kid. I mean, yes, this kid is special for reasons, special to him, but don't care.
Yeah, no,
Like
I've got no attachment to him at all. Like when you think he's going to go off and die, you're like, okay, bye.
And then at the end, he's the leader. You're like, oh, okay. And then the thing that I wouldn't cut, the thing that I thought was really important, is when those people early on try to bug out and then they get killed, and then you see all the like Rube Goldberg-y ways that they've come up with to save them. Like that scene when you think for sure they're going to die, and he comes walking through in that fire suit. That's badass. Like I loved all that. Like keep all that.
They've got the articulated lorry, which has got all the water sprays coming out of it.
It's so cool, right?
Yeah,
that is really
because the payoff as well is brilliant in that he just kind of goes, "No, don't be angry at him. I get it." Like that's such a great moment in the movie when Quinn is like, "No, I'm not annoyed with Eddie because I actually understand his position. I just knew what he was doing was wrong, but there's no point now blaming him for it. We have to survive. We have to work together, and holding on to that blame is pointless." I thought that was a really good moment. So I agree that needs to stay. Yeah,
I thought all that was good, and I think that was like some real stakes because except for McConaughey or except for Christian Bale, you don't know how all of them could die at that point in time. You don't know who any of them are. They're all no-name actors at that point. You're like any one of these people, and especially like. Well, you know, when Gerard Butler's like, we've been best friends forever, and he's like, no. And you're like, well, he could die now, like,
bye. Well, no, you know he's gonna die now,
right? But like, he could have died sooner too, and it would have been okay because you already check off best friends, and you're like, oh, you're not gonna make it, but that's okay too. And that added the layer of tension. So I agree with you. I think the first act, the pre-Americans act is great, and then when the Americans come, that is great. And
there's really good stuff there, but that's where it starts to get a bit messy. Like the whole skydive and freefall sequence is kind of cool, but amounts to absolutely nothing.
Other than it looks cool.
And they have this character of Gideon who they seem to build up. And there's this weird thing going on where you have Americans and South Africans and people putting on really bad English accents. And then you have an English guy playing an American. Like, what the hell is going on? So this guy playing Gideon is putting on like Gerard Butler talking of, and Jason Statham level bad American accent.
I know.
I'm from all over America in my accent.
Right. That's
I mean, again, it's a fun scene. Yeah, it's a fun scene. It's cool. But then this guy is the only one who survives, but he's not in the movie anymore. Like, where does he go? This Gideon guy just disappears out of the movie. So it's too many. It's just a bunch of ideas, and all of them kind of are cool in isolation or work, or going back to Eddie and their survival and the. Of the few family members, like 2 of them survived that and like 3 of them die. Again, like I think in the writing there's a problem that they don't learn anything. So when it comes to volunteering for Van Zandt's team, they're volunteering. So he's learned absolutely nothing by the action from earlier. He needs to be the one saying, no, look, I made this mistake before, and now we've got a problem with our crops because the dragon tracked us there and burnt all the crops. He needs to be on Quinn's side now. He needs to, like, Quinn hasn't banished me for this. So I don't know. There's all these little things that you and I as writers that I kind of wish I could go in there and twiddle with and fix to make this a much more satisfactory whole rather than lots of good little pieces.
Yeah, because I think this is one of those ones you've said, I'm going to quote you back to you, remake a mediocre movie.
For sure.
This movie is ripe for a remake.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right, you know what other movie that had people jumping off stuff and free falling, and put them in squirrel suits? That remake of Point Break. Don't do that. Don't make that. What are you doing?
That's already perfection. Yeah.
Why are you doing? That was dumb. And you're like, but we have these squirrel suits now. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Who cares? Write a different movie with.
Yeah.
That is cool. We saw it in this movie. Those are cool. That's dumb. So this is the movie that, like, this movie is, like you said, a 7 out of 10. Oh, let's make it a 9.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's remake this movie. There's a really great idea here that for budgetary reasons or for testosterone reasons or whatever reasons, it didn't work. Maybe because, and no offense to Rob, who has a great career, he's a TV director.
Yeah, I mean, he had that massive success with the X-Files adaptation, didn't he? But he's still playing in his own wheelhouse.
Right, He wasn't X-Files. He did the show.
Yeah. Then there's this, which is a mediocre success at best. Really has made a loss in the cinema, but has gone on to be a cult success. And then he's done Elektra, which
Which I liked Elektra more than most people, which is everybody. But me and Jennifer are the only ones who like it. I know Frank hates it. Frank Miller doesn't even like it. And Frank Miller doesn't like anything, but still, I liked Elektra fine. But it also had some of these same flaws. Like
it did, yeah.
It was paced poorly. I think she's good as Elektra. I thought she was good as Elektra in the first movie. I think she was good as Elektra, and you'll see her again in this series. You'll get to talk about that. Yeah. She was great in that. Like, I think she, we love her as Sydney. He did a couple episodes of Alias too, I think, right? Yeah. So
wouldn't surprise me if he did.
But the thing about the 45 minutes is way different than 90 or 145 minutes. It's way different. And that there's something missing there. And it's a different, and TV's not really a 3-act structure, right? It's a 5-act structure for a TV show. So maybe that's part of it. But I'm not shitting on him because I would love to have said I made Rain of Fire. But I do think this is a movie that would be so let's play that game. Who do you cast? And does Van Zandt, is he really the star? I mean, McConaughey is the fucking star of this movie, but he's not. He shouldn't be top billing. But I get it, right? It's a very much like Nicholson Keaton situation. Where it's like you got to put McConaughey above Christian Bale. Nobody's going to stand for that. But it's Christian Bale's movie, and McConaughey is coming in and having all the fun. Yeah. And he's like, and I'm sure he read that script. It's like, and at the end, you get eaten by a dragon. He's like, fuck yes. Will it look badass when I do it? Can I swing this big axe? They're like, sure. Sold. I mean, that's pretty ballsy too.
It is. Or that's another thing that is a bugbear, actually. Like, he's the only guy with any experience. He's proven. Now, he's Billy Bullshitter when you first meet him, isn't he? Like, yeah. We've heard this before, mate. Like, yeah, you can take out dragons. Then he proves it. Yeah. And then he's the guy you use as your distraction sacrifice. Like, no, you saying Christian Bale up there. Sorry, Quinn, but actually you're going up there because we need Van Zandt for the next section of this mission, which is...
where's the other guy who we could have killed? I already forgot his name. Gideon, yeah.
Seems
like a job for Gideon. Yeah.
But no, McConaughey absolutely is not. It is, Quinn is the protagonist of this story for sure, but McConaughey is the star of the movie.
He is.
He just absolutely owns everything, doesn't he, in this movie? And just from the second he comes on, there's this animalism about him, I think is the way I would put it.
The grunting is where that's part of it too.
It's raw, isn't it? And that is exactly what he's going for. And he achieves it with aplomb, I think, here. Yeah,
absolutely. So who would we cast? Yeah, who would you cast in a reboot? Like, do you make
Cavill was Van Zandt? Henry Cavill?
Oh. Is he a little too big? But that might be good, though.
I hear you.
He does a good American accent, though, unlike a lot of...
And again, I always kind of like... Because, again, I don't know if you read the trivia about how, like, Bale was going to be all scrawny in this.
Oh.
And he was already starting to diet because he was like, well, yeah, because these people are starving.
Yeah.
And then he met McConaughey in, like, the pre-production. McConaughey walked in, like... He's been buffing himself up, and Bale was like, "Oh shit, I'm supposed to go toe to toe with this guy."
So I got to be bigger. Yeah,
he did his Machinist Batman pre-Machinist Batman Begins. He's like, so he started
the other way. Because he did Equilibrium too. He's really. I wonder what the order they shot these in because he's pretty slender and he's in good shape. But he's slender in Equilibrium. I wonder that had they both had a ton of effects, so they probably were both filmed in 2001.
Yeah. Agreed.
Those are really post. Anyway, yes. So. I like Cavill, because for sure Van Zandt's got to be a big buff guy.
I think because it's meant to be that kind of USA, isn't it? It's meant to be that kind of that linebacker style. Like I'm going to come in and
Would it almost be then in that, as you mentioned, linebacker? Would it almost be? Is he too old? And would it be too much of a joke if it were Terry Crews?
Oh, I mean, that would be amazing as well.
Right? Because he was a linebacker.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that literally was what he did. And he is, he's from Michigan. So you could have him be the Flint regulars instead of the Michigan irregular. Just play like he does. Just always play himself.
Yeah.
Because McConaughey just plays himself in this.
True. Yeah.
But I like Cavill, but Terry Crews, he's such a machine.
Yeah, I hear you.
That could be fun. Too.
Maybe somebody like Taron Egerton, maybe as Quinn would work.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, that would be good. I like that. Or, you could even, it might be interesting even to do like and she's too, I'm going to say too old, but like a Mila, like who, like even like gender flip that, and then there can be a different kind of sexual tension there between Van Zant and Quinn, and have, because Quinn's a two-way name, so you could have like who's like a young action star. Kate Bos, she's American.
Yeah,
she's probably not so young anymore. I'm old now.
It'd be somebody like, Emma and I talked about this the other day. Like we feel everyone's young compared to us now.
Karen. Karen Gillan.
Yeah. I
mean, she does pretty good action, right?
She does, to be fair.
She's great in the
it'd end up being somebody like Millie Bobby Brown or something, probably, wouldn't it?
Oh, even younger still. Oh, yeah. She's okay, and she's just fine in action too.
Karen Gillan would be a good shout.
She's very physical.
Yeah,
and she has a presence about her, and she's a really good actor. We
Amazing.
Just watched Late Bloomers, which is a movie where she just I just was blown away. I mean, I already know she was a great. Like, I love Duel, what she did.
I mean,
in Duel.
even when she's caked up in Nebula makeup, the performance comes through that.
Yeah, she's great. So anyway, I don't know.
She's got the Wesley arc. She is the Wesley of the MCU.
100%. That is very true. Yeah, absolutely. And she's got the acting skills to pull that off. Just
for sure.
Yeah, that's tough. And I think, did you see Duel?
No, I don't think so.
She plays two versions of herself in that.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely haven't seen that. No.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it's Duel in that the two people have to you have to fight your own clone.
Yeah.
But also, she's got two things. She's really exceptional in that. It's the guy who did.
Watch it, yeah.
Yeah. It's the guy who did The Art of Self-Defense. Riley.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Whatever. Yeah. Riley Stearns. Yeah. It's very good. Anyway, I just think it would be fun. I mean, if you were going to go the other way and have him be, more gaunt and more starvy, then maybe you do somebody who, like some actor who is a true martial artist, not like a Scott Adkins, who is a true martial artist too, but like to be like a Bruce Lee style martial artist, the reason I love watching Donnie Chen is because I know he will kick everybody's ass, but he's not bulked up.
Yeah.
Like Donnie Yen, what did I say? Donnie Yen. Like Donnie Yen is always amazing in everything that he does. Whether I watch his movies in whatever language they're in, he's magic, right? So he's too old too, but somebody like that might be good too, like a true martial artist, because then you could really get the juxtaposition, especially if you went with like Cavill, and then so I don't know. Anyway, I would definitely not have a love interest. That is
no. It feels. And it's not quite a love interest, is it? But it feels like they're pushing for you.
Well, that's how it ends in the outro.
Yeah, but I mean, within the movie, there's no kind of sneaking off to corners together. But there's just like we've met each other and we've got hots for each other.
We're two ridiculously good-looking people who survived the apocalypse.
Yeah,
let's have really hot babies. Okay.
Yeah, and you're right. They definitely end up together by the end, don't they?
Yeah. It's just That's just again, I'm not against a romance. I love a romance. Like I like a rom-com. I'm okay with romance in a drama. I'm okay with romance in an action movie. But it just has to seem plausible. And this goes back to your initial point: is this movie is too fast for that to happen. If you're going to serialize it, and in our version, I guess we could. Yeah.
Because you can buy that there might be a growing tenderness, a growing affection for them, that perhaps they both have a different take on the world situation, or over time, Quinn and is it Alex? Quinn and
Alex, yeah.
They sort of they change each other's worldviews. Like you could do all that, and that would definitely work. But in here they only have like 2 scenes together, and then they're madly in love.
Sure, they are. Sure, that's one of my least favorite. Like it's a YA trope that I hate, which I don't do.
Yeah, and it's that thing of like, let's pause the apocalypse so we can
make out a little. Yeah. And I just think it's and that isn't. This is where the book series and the movie sort of fell apart, but the Divergent and even the book series sort of fell apart. But the Divergent series, I don't know if you ever read that. They made the movies. Okay, but in the Divergent series, Triss and 4. It's legit. Like they meet each other. It takes a long time. By the end of the first book, they're together. And then there's no like weird love triangle. There's no bullshit. They are tested. They have time apart. They miss each other. They have to go on their own adventures, but they're always like it's ardent and it's earnest and it's good. Like, I'm like, yes, it wasn't an insta love story. Like, they have the hots for each other. They're like, hey, want to bang. But the apocalypse has already happened. Like, they live in the apocalypse.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
the world
yeah,
isn't ending.
I've seen the first movie.
You saw the first movie?
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate to the book. That's pretty
Okay.
close. Yeah. Yeah. And that guy, whenever we see Theo,
Yeah.
we still call him Four.
Okay, because of that
poor
film.
guy every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really love that first book a lot. And our whole family read those books. And so we went and saw the movies, and we saw them all, and they got progressively worse. So bad that they didn't even film the fourth one. Like, because they decided for the third one to try to do like a Harry Potter and a Twilight and
okay, yeah.
And then it was like, and then they lied and were like, oh no, all along our plan was to make the fourth one like a TV pilot, make the fourth one on TV and then turn it this divergent TV show, which actually would have been cool. That didn't happen. That was all just lies. So that just sort of ended in bullshittery. They definitely shit the bed on those movies. But anyway, we wouldn't in our remake of Reign of Fire.
No, absolutely
so,
not. No.
The McConaughey, as the man who's watching the McConaughey, the McConaissance.
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, this is it coming off Frailty and 13 Conversations.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. I think if you've got time, there's quite an interesting bit in Green.
I do want to hear it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is definitely a role that he's taken for the fun.
Yeah,
he's in a really interesting phase, I think, because everyone thinks this is just and we discussed this actually way back when, just a rom-com McConaughey. But then, he's in Frailty playing this really layered, textured, complicated character where there's no easy answers. Then he turns up in this all gruff and buff and animalistic and intense. And yeah, I think I watched a couple of interviews with him and he's just like, as you said, it sounded like a hell of a lot of fun. I could just turn up and be this macho guy. In fact, I wrote down a quote where he says, this is what he says about playing the character. Go be a man of action. Go be a badass. Go take care of business. A man working from necessity, not luxury. A man who doesn't talk about things, but does them. And yeah, that's definitely who he is, isn't he? This is kind of like tapping into that Texas side of him, perhaps of that stereotypical Texas side of him is what I should say.
Yeah, the cowboy.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely having all the fun. And I think it is a good juxtaposition because Christian Bale isn't having any fun.
No, he's very Terminator Salvation Christian Bale here.
He is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You could almost take these two characters and move them from movie to movie.
That's a good shout.
You wouldn't even notice, actually.
Yeah.
Like the way he delivers the voiceover as well is very that kind of even tone that he has to it. But it's unfortunate is that he's playing the straight man, right? And McConaughey, as you said, gets to come in. You're absolutely right. I love that Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton thing.
Yeah.
Although Keaton is not really a straight man in Batman either. But
no.
That sense that he gets to come in and be the Heath Ledger, be the clown, be the one who's having all the fun for sure. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, Michael Keaton is still Christian Bale. I think is objectively the best Batman. Michael Keaton is still my favorite Batman, and I just love that because nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, sure.
And you're like, of course, comedians are always better actors because they've got it because comedy's hard. Yeah, no, I agree. I think McConaughey has all the fun in this movie, and it's definitely Christian Bale doesn't seem like he is having any fun. And I know he comes across as a bit of a sourpuss in real life, but I also think he's he doesn't want to be a movie star.
No,
and I think this movie is that crossroads, right? There's a guy who wants to be an actor and a guy who wants to be a movie star in the same movie. So then what happens, right? Like, this is what happens.
Yeah. And he has to be convinced, I think, to be in this as well. And I think he, I'm not sure he is fully committed in the same way McConaughey is. I think he's good.
No.
Bale's always good. He's never
always good. He's never bad, right?
But he's not like I am Quinn, whereas McConaughey is I am Van Zandt, to the point where supposedly he was quite method on set and would walk around.
Which is weird, right? Because that's not his normal.
Not him
thing,
normally.
Yeah.
No.
Huh.
But there's lots of sort of behind the scenes discussions of he was going for it in this movie. He was calling up Rob Bowman before production, in characters Van Zandt, when I get there. Yeah, supposedly, yeah.
But he does. Well, you just did it too. It's funny because Christian Bale's the one. He's the one who gets to talk he gets to just be normal talking Christian Bale, which is rare. There's only a handful of movies he gets to talk like
It's
himself.
true.
And
most people didn't even know he was British, to be fair, did they? Were like, what? This guy's not. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because when he did the Batman Begins interviews and stuff, he did it as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was intentional. And he acknowledged, like, I'm new. Most people, I don't know me. Or if they do, they think I'm Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
And so I have to convince them I can do this. And so, which again, Christian Bale's accent is way good.
Yeah.
Like we've got, as you mentioned, Gerard Butler and Jason Statham and Liam Neeson. Quit trying, lads. What do we do? Let's just, because that's the thing especially with Butler, Scottish accent's got to be really hard to cover up. So at best, just if you're not going to just talk in your normal Scottish accent, do Irish maybe?
And he's done that. He's done that in a couple of movies as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, and it's always funny too. It's like, because Adrian Paul does really good accent work, and like, which is, so it's like, because he sounds like he sounds, but then as Duncan MacLeod, the modern day Duncan MacLeod, he's doing a British accent, but you're like, just do your normal speaking voice.
Yeah, sure.
Like you never hide your name. You don't become Russell Nash. You just stay Duncan MacLeod the whole time. What is the British accent? Because then when you hear Adrian Paul talk for real, you're like, why didn't he just get to talk like this in that show? I don't understand. So, but some people are really good. Like and I think maybe he's a stage actor. Christian Bale was acting as a little kid. So I don't know if that's part of it. Like you get the right elocution lessons, but he definitely, regardless, he just doesn't seem like he's having fun. And Gerard Butler does look like he's having fun, and McConaughey is having all the fun. So, I am glad it exists. I think McConaughey, it's an important movie in the McConaughey, catalog. Because it's just another one of those things that now, when we see him now as his choices, we're like, oh, he was always doing this. Like I think, like you said, because this was a cult classic, and Frailty, I think Frailty is one of his finest. I love that movie. I think, I should say I love Frailty.
Yeah.
You hear me for what I said.
Yeah.
No, I don't. He's great.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent performance. And just like The Machinist, it's a hard watch. But it's one of Christian Bale's better performances. Same with American Psycho. It's not like you don't watch American Psycho for fun, but he's spectacular in it. And so I think this is one of those movies where just McConaughey, sure, it was fun, but it's also just like the one movie, Lone Star.
Yeah.
Right? You just show up and you do the work because you're like, I got to do the work. I want to work, but I also want to push myself. And while this doesn't seem like a push because he's just but you did the voice. He is affecting a voice. It isn't charming. McConaughey, even in the dark,
charismatic charm, not at all. No,
it's not like he's doing Kentucky. He's not doing Kentucky, but he's still just doing Texas McConaughey. But there's like you said, the animalistic. Yeah, there's something going on. Maybe that's why he had to go method, because it's not. He is such a pleasant dude. Yeah. So
getting it and saying it. Do you want to hear how we prepared to get it?
I do. I can't wait. He's like, right. I definitely, as Chris would say, I took my vitamins and said my prayers.
He did. It's a little bit of a longer section, so bear with me. But I'll skip some bits, but there's just some really funny moments. So he says, I had 2 months to prepare and train to become my man, Van Zam. I made a plan that would be executed in the mid-July 108-degree weather. Excuse me while I turn the page. All right, so this is his plan. Number 1, take a double shot of tequila every morning at sunrise before I get out of bed. Number 2, run 5 miles across the desert daily, barefoot. 2.5 miles out and 2.5 miles back. Number 3, keep my heart rate below 60 while standing on the edge of the barn rooftop overlooking a 40-foot drop onto the concrete below. Number 4, run out into the pastures every night at midnight and tackle sleeping cows. So, how did it go? Well, on the 6th morning, I gagged up the double Cavallo shot that was awaiting me beside at sunrise. Then again on morning 7. Bad idea? Done. At midnight on my 9th day, a large bull headbutted me and gave me a concussion as I tried to wrestle him to the ground. Whoops. After 11 days of running 5 miles barefoot across the rocky 108-degree hot desert sand and stones, oyster-sized blisters formed on the bottoms of my feet, so big and so bubbled that I couldn't even walk, much less run. Uh-oh. And after 2 months of trying, I never got closer than 3 feet from the edge of that barn's rooftop. And even then, my heart rate never got lower than 125. Nice try. My Dragon Slayer workout regime had failed miserably. But the upside was that I experienced a lot of pain, as any good Dragon Slayer would.
That's amazing. I love all of that. I like how he self-deprecates. He doesn't have to be. He's Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. So to say that he was all in from day one, I think is represented there. Well, I'm not sure I approve of wrestling cows, but...
no, please, thumbs down to that.
Yeah, but...
I just hope it's not one of those nights where they get wasted and take us to go to cow tipping.
Yeah, sure. yeah. But yeah, he wanted to be Van Zandt, I think, didn't he? At this
and
moment?
He did. I think it's great. I'm glad he did it. I think he should be proud of this. The fact that he gave that much real estate to it in Green Lights, which he doesn't to some of the other movies. Some he doesn't mention at all. And then I was in a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah, no,
are you fucking kidding me? Come on.
yeah.
It was unpleasant. No one should watch that movie. It's a hard watch. That's kind of what he's telling us in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he
was all in on this guy. Yeah, he really wants to play
great.
this role. He obviously really had a good time. I think he still talks about it quite fondly, in his memories of the movie now. So, yeah, it was definitely one which I think he would consider as being important in his filmography.
Yeah, I do too.
A couple of letterbox,
please.
Wow, so we've got a bit of a resurrection here. Lou Shoemaker.
Oh, what?
It's been a while. He says, Matthew McConaughey absolutely rocks in this movie, but every scene without him is boring.
Oh, Lou.
Which is a bit hard.
It's good to hear from Lou.
I kind of get where he's coming from because he elevates everything up to fun, whereas I think you're right. A lot of the time, the rest of it is a bit dour.
Correct.
Which is why the Empire scene stands out so much, because it's fun.
Yeah, right. They're both having fun. Yeah, and that looked like... Because we know Christian Bale, I mean, he was in Newsies. He can be fun.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, he had fun in Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough role. And he was like, oh, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Talk about people going all in. Yeah.
Yeah. Woof.
Okay, Casey says, honestly, way better than any post-apocalyptic dragon movie from 2002 should be.
Agreed. Casey.
Yeah. I always rate this one off, but the grimy castle setting, the wanton destruction, and Matthew McConaughey doing his best impression of a seasonal Walking Dead villain are enough to keep things interesting. This was fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I think that kind of Walking Dead call out is good as well, because it has that sense of like villain of the week or like villain of the season kind of coming in.
I've never watched that. I've never watched it. I only watched a couple episodes early on. I read the comics, but it was just one of those things. I didn't have the channel it was on. And now it's probably, I think that there's a whole Pluto channel dedicated to it. I could probably watch it all.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
Now there's just, I dropped out after about 5 seasons as well.
Oh, okay.
Talking of something that's just a bit dour.
No doubt.
Yeah. Oh, another place where you think you're going to be safe. Oh, no, you're not. And half of you are dead. Oh, look. It just felt,
At some point in time, you should quit following Rick, is all I'm saying.
Rinse, cycle, repeat a little bit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so, and that tends to be the vibe. I mean, there's obviously loads more, but as you know, I pick out the McConaughey ones, but that tends to be the vibe, which is McConaughey brings it, he elevates it. But in general, it's a fun movie. It's quite well rated, to be fair, on Letterboxd. It's got 3 rating.
Oh, nice.
Probably slightly lower than you and I would consider it, but
yeah. I mean, right. I'm glad I got to do it. I had fun. I definitely was a little more critical than I thought I would be, but I also was trying to be. Like there are always problems, and I want to like things. Like I watched Trap. I watched Shyamalan's Trap yesterday.
Oh yeah, I do want to watch that. It looks great.
I had a great time with it. Hartnett knows what he's doing. I mean, it is just an hour and a half long music video for Shyamalan's daughter.
Sure.
Like for real. I'm not even making that up. But it's like, wow, if she wants to be a pop singer, this is a great way to have her be one. But is it Shyamalan's best movie? No. But I had so much fun with it. It was what it was. He again also knows how to like make a movie for $18 million, make $80 million. So it's like he knows. So I want to.
And that
like
goes
things.
Here, doesn't it? Is this McConaughey's best film? No. Is it Bale's best film? No. Is it Butler's best film? No. None of those people. Is it Bowman's best film? Probably.
100% it is. Yes, correct.
But it is fun. It's just fun. And as we said right at the start, to bring it back kind of full circle, in the pantheon of kind of dragon movies, this is right up near the top.
Absolutely. Yeah. It 100% is. And so that's
maybe the animated Flight of Dragons is up there with it. That's a brilliant movie. But
and I've never seen the How to Train Your Dragon series.
Yeah, they're really, really good.
Gerard Butler's in that, right?
He is, yeah.
So that's fun. Does he
and he's about
Scottish?
to be in it again. He does get to be Scottish. And he's about to be in it again because of the live action versions coming out.
Is he the voice of the dragon?
No, he's the voice of the I don't know what you call it, the village leader, the king of like the
okay. So he's
Vikings.
So he's gonna just play that guy.
Yeah, he's just playing that guy again now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's cool. Good for him. It's good. Way to get to be Scottish. Good for you. It's good to be who you are.
Paid again for doing the same thing again.
I know. That's a whole. I don't even want to. I don't even understand. No, that's I mean, I've never seen those, but I know. I definitely think this is my favorite dragon film
of this type. Like you say, where we put Dragon Slayer and that, where it's got. Although this is modern, it is harking back to that medieval. We said at the start, it's that kind of medieval meets modern. Of that kind of medieval type. This is right up at the top, isn't it, in terms of quality?
100%. Just one last question before I tell you where I rank it. What you are English? You live in the UK.
I do.
Is it feet? Can you pick? Can it be feet or meters? Why does it both? Like, seriously, he's like, it should be 100 and some feet. And then in the same scene, he said meters.
Great question. I don't know. I thought you were going to go with the idea of them driving in a tank from Northumberland to London.
I didn't even want to. No,
night.
I didn't. Listen,
which is
I got over the fact that they flew the tanks across the
most northern part of England you can be in, down to London, just in a couple of hours.
He didn't say they got the tanks there on a boat. He said they brought them on a plane. So once that was the thing, I was like, whatever.
Yeah. UK's tiny, isn't it?
I didn't care. I was like, whatever. Right, I know. And it was like, because they go off ahead of him, right? And all of that happens, and then these three things happen, and they're back.
Yeah.
You're like,
they go nearly to London, back to Northumberland, and back to London again in like a day? Sure.
Yeah, sure. That's the world's fast. That's like a Mad Max. That's a George Miller thing. Yeah. Anyway, so that part just bugged me a little bit. But anyway, all right.
To be fair, we do just use feet and meters, actually.
You just go willy nilly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's
quite fair. That's quite accurate.
Wait. And there was a scene where, just because it looked badass, where Quinn's like sitting in a room and they light every candle in the castle.
Yeah.
I don't think we needed every candle in the castle.
It's like after they kill that dragon.
Scene. Yeah.
Let's have a massive party. Let's have spotlights in the sky. I know. Massive fire pyres. Let's blare music out. No, there's still 1 million dragons in the world. There's a few popping around England, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, delightful. Okay. So I've Kim and Hod. I mean, the honest truth is, this is a classic McConaughey performance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put it there.
Good for you.
The film itself is worth catching.
Yeah.
For people who are not opposed to dragon films.
Yeah.
It is a classic McConaughey performance. This is McConaughey smelling his own, like rubbing his crotch and smelling his fingers before every scene. He's like, yeah, get that.
I'm not sure we'll ever get that again. It might be the only time. So I think it's a fair place to put it. I can't think of another one where he's really this again.
No, I mean, he definitely plays dirty and creepy and all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
Like there's just this, if he had gone in the action star route, this is our only chance at full action star McConaughey. Because even in Sahara, where he definitely wears this medium, it's still not right. It's still not the same. Like, he's not an action star.
It's even slightly smaller than a medium. I don't know. I love your medium saying, but I think it might be even smaller.
Yeah, in Sahara, everything is like, And in this, they're like, sun's out, guns out, right? He's just cut the sleeves off. So to me, this is what makes this one a classic, is that he could have gone this route, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Again, it's always, everything he does is such a calculated choice. So where Gerard Butler saw this and was like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah. Every
Right, because
film.
even Christian Bale doesn't go this route. He does Batman, but he doesn't. And he did Equilibrium in the same year he did Batman. And he doesn't really do action movies either.
Yeah.
But Gerard Butler was like, thanks, gents, for showing me the way. I will do that very thing. So, and that's fine. So Gerard Butler got the job that Matthew McConaughey probably didn't want.
Yeah,
which was to be maybe the world's worst Secret Service agent. The president keeps getting captured or in harm's way. Mike, God damn it, Mike, do better. Anyway, so that is where I put it as a classic.
Brilliant.
All right. Safe to say that Tony sure was fired up for that episode. My thanks to him again for joining me. It's been too long. And my thanks to everyone that is still listening and partaking in this journey with me through the reconnaissance. That was Rain of Fire. Next up in a fortnight, I'm going to be joined by Spider Dan to discuss Eminem's performance as Stephen Bedelia in a film we're highly anticipating, Matthew Bright's Tiptoes, for those that are watching along. Until next time, be excellent to each other and make sure you take the time to treat yourself too. I am Jack signing off. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers!
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Cut.
I was going to do the whole, like, what have you got coming up? But we know at the moment you're too busy to have stuff coming up.
I am too busy. I have books out. People should buy books. That's
for sure.